My name is Allie, and welcome to Funny Fat Friend, a podcast about this bodacious biracial babe trying to find herself in film. Here's an update. We have been protesting here in Louisville for 134 days for justice. I know it's been a couple weeks since I originally planned to make this episode, and the world still feels turned upside down. The week I planned to record this was the week we received the grand jury's decision on charges in the Breonna Taylor case here in Louisville. I was not shocked by the lack of charges, but I was heartbroken all the same. We are obviously not done fighting for justice and safety for our lives, and I hope you're not done fighting as well. I'm going to post the link to a wish list of supplies we are in need of here for the protesters, and encourage those who can to give to the Louisville Bail Fund as well, because people I respect and love are still being arrested for exercising our right to protest. We knew this would not be an easy road, but it is worthwhile, because all of our lives are worthwhile. All right. So now I'm gonna somehow transition into talking about the Men in Black series. Cool. It's okay. So hey, we made it to the third film in this Out of This World series. Today, we're going to be doing Men in Black 3. It came out in 2012, which is a full decade after the second movie. It had a budget of between 215 to 225 million, because no one's quite sure what the marketing budget was. And it made 624 million. So still a major success. All right, let's talk about it. So right away, I thought I had seen this movie. I was wrong. I had not seen this movie. I had just seen the trailer for it a bunch, I guess. But it starts off, we have Nicole Scherzinger, who is from Louisville. Shout out. She does not probably listen to this podcast, but in the very unlikely event that she does, what up, girl? Thank you for being a friend of the pod. Anyway, Nicole Scherzinger from the Pussycat Dolls, Queen, or from The Masked Singer, which is also a show that I love a lot, and I don't really know why. Anybody else? Anybody else? I love The Masked Singer. It is bonkers. It is a bonkers show, and I am infatuated with it. It's the best. But okay. This movie. So it starts with her. And she is super hot because there is no other way for her to be. She is so unbelievably beautiful. She's walking through this jail holding a very wobbly cake. Props to the props team. Again, the props people who have worked on all three of these movies so far have deserved every award possible. It's so cool. I don't know who figured out how to make such a wobbly cake without it falling apart. But good job. So she's walking all hot with a wobbly cake in 2012. Iconic. Was it a cultural reset? I think it was. And she's going to see an alien criminal named Boris the Animal, who is played by Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. I love Jermaine. I think his last name is Clemens. I think I'm right. I love Jermaine, and this is the moment that I knew I had never seen the movie because I was so excited that it was him. I would have noticed in 2012 if it was him, and I was like, nope, you haven't seen this movie. But he has lots of like prosthetics on. He's very scary. He's got very scary hands, very scary feet, and a very scary mouth. Just like razor sharp teeth. Too many tendrils. What are those? Phalanges. Digits. I think digits is the word I'm looking for. Had a lot of extra digits going on. Thanks everybody for sticking with me through that one. Anyway, so he's in a maximum security prison, which is on the moon, and he wants to take revenge on Agent K, Tommy Lee Jones, what a gift. That decade of time between Men in Black 2 and Men in Black 3, you see it on Tommy Lee Jones's face pretty hard. I definitely thought he was going to say, I'm getting too old for this shit, because you can read it on his face. But anyway, okay. So, Boris the animal wants to get revenge on Agent K because Agent K shot off his left arm and captured him in 1969. Okay, great. So, she, in her cake, they're like, oh, well, the prison guards are like, ooh, what's in this cake? And they like put their hand in it, which was a mistake because there's like this scary insect that like bites off its fingers and it's part of Boris. It's nasty. I never really understood. I guess Boris is just like made of bugs. Well, they're really like alien bugs. Huh. Parasites. Oh my gosh, is Men in Black series a prequel for Parasite? Oh, that joke is so horrendous and like bad. And my face is like flush with embarrassment right now. It's like hot from even saying that. That's not a joke. Technically, because it was so stupid, it can't even qualify as a joke at all. I apologize to Bong Joon-ho for even suggesting. So dumb. Okay, sorry. We're surprise, we're off the rails. Alright, cool. So yeah. So Jermaine escapes the moon base. Yeah, by like ripping like a hole in the side of it somehow. It's like an explosion. It's very intense. Okay, great. So then we go back to New York. Yay! We get to see our favorite guys, Agent K and Agent J. And they're cleaning up a ditch. Oh no, they're cleaning up a sitch. I wrote down ditch instead of sitch. Like situation. And I'm keeping it in because I don't want to edit this, so you're welcome. Alright, so yeah, they're cleaning up a situation where a plane had crashed, yeah. And after Agent J neuralizes everybody, he tells them that it's because they didn't turn their cell phones off while they were riding on the plane. That was enjoyable. I really like that. We find out that Zed, the head of MIB, has passed away, which is very sad. And that Agent K is supposed to give a speech at like his memorial service. And Jay is like, wow, you want any advice on that? You know, you're not really a man of eloquent words. And K is like, I've got it. And so then we cut to the memorial service, and the worms are singing Amazing Grace, which I need that soundbite in my life all the time. I want to find a copy of it. If somebody could edit down just this entire movie just to the soundbite of the worms singing Amazing Grace, I would like to set that as my daily alarm. Really just start your day right with those goofy guys singing Amazing Grace. But yeah, one of the good moves, keeping the worms in. They're very funny. And Agent K gives a speech. Surprisingly, it is very terse and matter of fact. Not very moving. But we do get to meet the new chief, which is played by Emma Thompson. Hey girl, hey, Agent O. It's really amazing. And exciting. Because anytime I see Emma Thompson, it's pretty exciting. I get riled up. She's just such a gift to us all. Okay, cool. So then they are told they have a new case about humans having alien worms. Neat. Then we see Boris again. He is now in New York City, and he goes into a electronics store and gets a time traveling device. So we're like, whoa, what's that about? But then he's like, I'm gonna go into the past and kill Agent K. And then we're like, oh, so that's what it's about. Cool, cool, cool. I really love the clear exposition. You know, these characters, they're not leaving any mystery for us. And that's nice. When they speak, we know what they mean and what is happening. So yeah, then K and J go to a restaurant, and there's a bunch of extraterrestrial food being served out of the back. So they go in there, and we're looking at all these very cool aliens that they have created. So they're serving like illegal extraterrestrial food. One of the aliens is in a tank. It's like fish. They're all like fish type creatures. And Agent J walks past one and he goes, "Oh, you look like you come from the planet Damn." And can't nobody tell me that shit is not hilarious. That is so funny. I could watch Will Smith deliver that line every day and be really, really, really like happy with the world. Maybe can we replace the US government with Will Smith saying that you look like you come from the planet Damn? Damn, went done and tickled myself. That was funny. That line fucking got me. It really did. But yeah, cool. Anyway, Agent K is really smart and figures out that all the illegal food that they have there is for Boris the animal. And so he figures out that Boris has escaped and is back on Earth to kill him. And there's a big shootout because perfectly Boris shows up, I guess, yeah. At that time, and Boris confronts K and Agent J and tells him that he is already dead before he like escapes. And yeah, so J and K, after the shootout and Boris gets away, K is telling him that leaving Boris the animal alive was the worst thing that he ever did. And Jay is like, boy, you gotta tell me more. And he's like, I won't. And he says not to look into it. And when Jay's like, well, I can just like do stuff on my own because I'm a smart person and I have access to information, I'm just to look it up. And Agent K is like, no, you're not. I'm gonna suspend you for 4 weeks. Whew. Which is that's very too much, you know? But of course it doesn't matter, because Agent J just goes, back into MIB and does his own research. And so we get to see MIB, and in each movie they have like expanded upon the world of the Men in Black headquarters. So in like the second one, we saw that it was more like also an airport, like I don't know, a way station, like an immigration center, I guess, like an Ellis Island type place. In this one, they've made it even more sleek and like it feels kind of like a tech, like an Apple or something like that, right? All the white, clean, and little pods of people and that sort of thing, researching, doing stuff. So I've enjoyed the background images of MIB in each movie very much. Great. So yeah, Agent J goes back to MIB, and I brought that up because in the background, in each one, we've also seen like not billboards, like computer screens showing like current places in the world with aliens. And like in the first one, there was like Dennis Rodman and stuff was an alien. And in this one of the images was of Lady Gaga. And so, wow. That was relevant. Gaga. Not just a Italian woman from New York. An Italian woman from another planet. Gaga. So yeah, was that worth it? I don't know, you guys. I wanted to talk about it, so we did. Alright, cool. Agent J back at MIB. We see Gaga in the background, but he goes to find out more information because Kay was being withholding. And he goes to find out that Kay was responsible not only for capturing Boris, but for deploying the ArcNet, which is a shield that prevented the Boglodites from conquering Earth, causing their extinction way back when, so in 1969, with the kerfuffle with Boris. He, prevented an entire takeover, so that's cool. And, but then the info is restricted beyond that. And Jay's like, what? But I am the toppity of the tops. Give me that information. And it's like, nope. And at this point, Agent O notices that he is there because he's just in a see-through room across from her office. So Agent O comes over and is like, yo, don't look into stuff that you don't want to know the answer to. Which is very ominous, and that was sad. So Agent J leaves, and Agent K gives him a call and kind of apologizes for being mean or stuffy to him. And but he doesn't give him any more information, so not super helpful. But we see Agent K in his house, and while he's talking to Agent J, he goes to his wall, and it opens up, of course, and it's just a wall of guns. And he gets a real big gun, and then he sits down, and it's oh, he knows that Boris is still out there, so he's probably gonna try and get him. But then all of a sudden, Agent K just fucking disappears. He's sitting in a chair, and he just evaporates. And then his entire apartment also evaporates and turns into this normal family house. And yeah, so the next day, Agent J goes to his apartment, and there's a family living there, and they don't know what he's talking about. He also chugs a little boy's chocolate milk, which is rude. And then he goes to MIB headquarters, and there's a new doorman. It's not the normal nice, he's not really nice. He's silent doorman who's always reading the newspaper. It's a different guy. And he also gets followed in by Will Arnett into the elevator, who turns out to be Agent AA and is Agent J's partner. And so he's like, what is going on? And then nobody knows who Agent K is. So he's screaming at everybody. And everybody's like, yo, boy, you crazy. Which is very rude. And then Agent O in this timeline, though, still becomes the chief, so that's cool. And so she's like, why are you keep yelling about Agent K? Here, let me show you. And it's a memorial to him. And she's like, he's been dead for over 40 years. Whew. Which, I don't think that math is right. Is that right? No, it is. It is. I'm dumb. Yikes. It's 2012. Yeah, that math checks out. It's over 40 years. I don't know. Ignore that. I'm gonna leave it in because I'm staying honest. Okay, so yeah, he's been dead for over 40 years. But Agent O believes Agent J that he remembers K, because he says that he has been craving chocolate milk, which apparently is a symptom of being part of a time warp or something. Space-time continuum warp. And so she's like, I don't know, man, you gotta just figure out how to go back in time and figure out what's going on. Here's a place of an illegal time jump device. So that's cool. So yeah. Then we see that Boris uses his time jump device to go back in time to July 16th, 1969, on his mission to kill the young Agent K. So then Agent O helps Agent K out, and is like, yeah, there's a fracture in the space-time continuum. And with Agent K gone, the ArcNet was never deployed. So in present-day Earth, they're defenseless from a Boglodite invasion, which, like, immediately the Boglodites come and start attacking the Earth, which doesn't really make sense to me because I'm like, they had like 40 years? Why exactly that day are they deciding to attack? But who am I? Well, whatever, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, cool. Knowing from the agency's records Boris will commit a murder there in 1969, Jay uses the same time-traveling device, which turns out the kid who gave Boris the time-traveling device is the son of one of the guys that Boris was imprisoned with in the moon, on the moon. And so that's how we got that set up. There we go. Things are connected. Yeah, so the guy who's helping, oh man, I wish I remember that actor's name. He's in all kinds of stuff. He is. He's in lots and lots of things. I think he's in one of the seasons of Fargo. I think that's what I'm remembering him from. I always get him confused with the guy from Breaking Bad and Black Mirror, who is also a white, little bit pudgy guy, who I think was a child actor. I think they were both child actors. I'm not sure. If somebody wants to put in the extra work to look up who I'm talking about, because y'all don't know. I don't know. Anyway, cool. So that kid is helping him out to use the time traveling device that he has, and he says that Agent J really must have he must succeed, because he remembers Agent K. So that's like a good sign that he's not gonna die using this device that might work. Okay. So yeah, because Agent J has to like go on top of a really tall building and just like jump off of it and fall through the air in order for it to work. So that's pretty fun and exciting, but it does work. He wakes up in 1969 on July 15th, so the day before Boris went back to. And he goes to Coney Island so that he can kill Boris and save Agent K and save the world. Man. But in order to get to Coney Island, he just like takes somebody's car and gets pulled over by the cops, and they're racist because it's 1969. Well, because it's America in general, I guess. Yikes. But yeah. But while they're having like an altercation, he's having the altercation with the police, there's a billboard behind the car that is advertising a talking pug at Coney Island, like in the spectacles show. I don't know. I don't want to call it like the carnival, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's Doug the Pug. Is it Doug? Was that his name? But yeah, Frank. It's Frank. Frank is his name. Frank the Talking Pug. It's like a nice little nod. And I like that because I missed him. He's a good part of 1 and 2. But he's not in this one. But there is a picture that I had referencing him, and so that's fun. So yeah. Agent J gets away from the police and goes to kill Boris, but then gets caught by Agent K, who takes him to MIB headquarters. Because he's like, what is this man doing all this stuff with these aliens? I gotta take him in. And so they go to MIB headquarters, which in 1969 just looks exactly like Mad Men. Which I guess, yeah, Mad Men was still on the air in 2012, I think. I didn't watch Mad Men until it was all over, which was like right after college, yeah. maybe. But I don't know. I didn't watch it until it was over, so I don't really know when it was on TV. But it just looks exactly like Mad Men, and so that's fun. Yeah, and he goes to neuralize Jay. But the neuralizer is like this massive old machine that looks like it's gonna just blow him up. But as Agent Jay is like doing the whole like, no, you have to believe me, I know things about you that, can't be explained, and says some like fun facts that I don't remember. But yeah, it's good. And eventually Agent K does believe him. And so that's very nice. Yeah, so he believes that he has come to protect him, and that's nice. So then they team up, and K and J follow clues, leading them to a bowling alley, trying to like track down Boris, where he's gonna be next. And there are these old like Italian mobsters, like very Godfather-esque, and they're all aliens, and one of them is just like a head on a body, I guess, because he takes off his head and like bowls it down the lane as a way of torturing him for information. What a yikes. But they're like, Dom knows all the information. Go in the back and talk to Dom. They go in the back and Dom is dead. Ooh. But luckily, they do find a clue in Tom's office that leads them to a place called the Factory, which is this like weird arts club scene thing that is run by Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol is there. And it turns out that Andy Warhol is an MIB agent, Agent W, in disguise. And it's played by fucking Bill Hader. So the cast in this is really amazing. I had a really nice time. So yeah. But so Agent W lets them know that they are going to need to find somebody named Griffin, who's an Arcanan. So that's who they need to get the ArcNet. It's an Arcanan named Griffin, which Jay runs into Griffin while Kay is talking to Agent W. And he has the ArcNet, and he also sees all possible future timelines and outcomes at once. And he senses that Boris is coming, and he flees. And they don't kill Boris. In this instance, it would have been really nice. A nice little tie-up of everything. But of course, they do not capture Boris and kill him. But they they do like get a hint from Griffin. He gives them like this weird ominous clue about like something about Shay. I don't remember. Like the greatest game ever played or something like that. I'll see you at the ballpark, boys. But neither of them really understood what it was. So Agent J is like, what are we going to do? And Agent K is like, all right, we're going to go get some pie. Which is something they do in each movie. There's pie. And he says it's because his granddaddy said it worked to clear the mind and get a solution. A good piece of pie. So they go and they have a piece of pie together, and Kay tells him how he met Agent O, which Agent O is there with them in 1969. And he talks about how they met, and it's like cute, and there's obvious like emotional romantic tension there, and so that's cute. And then Jay suddenly recognizes the clue that Griffin gave him, and it's about meeting at Shea Stadium. And so they're like, all right. So they go to Shea Stadium and they meet Griffin, where he is then captured by Boris. So that sucks. And J and K pursue and are actually able to get Griffin back, and they get the ArcNet, which is really good. Ugh. But young Boris escapes, and when he escapes, that's when old Boris arrives the early morning of July 16th, and they team up, even though they just insult each other the entire time. They're just like, you suck. No, you suck. So that's good. Yeah. All right, so then they figure out that in order to set up the ArcNet, they need to get it into, like, our atmosphere. So they figure out that they have to go to Cape Canaveral so that they can attach the ArcNet to the Apollo 11 rocket to deploy it into space, because it's 1969, you guys. We went to the moon in 1969, not 1968, but the year after. Y'all remember the Even Stevens musical episode? I do. Okay, so yeah. So Agent K finally gets Agent J to reveal that Boris will kill Agent K. Which is why it's the real reason why Agent J has come back in time. And at first, Agent K does not take that news well at all. But eventually, they get it together, and J, K, and Griffin fly using jetpacks that are very volatile to Cape Canaveral. And they make it to the military base, and they are stopped and arrested immediately because Griffin tells them that the only timeline in which they don't die is the one where they tell the truth to the military officials about what they're doing. So of course they get arrested. But luckily they talk to the colonel, J and K. Try and talk to the colonel, and they also do not convince him of letting them go put something on the spaceship. But Griffin shows him the future and reveals to him the importance of their mission, and he is like, all right, I'll help. So the agents climb up to the rocket's launch tower, and of course, both young and old Boris show up and start fighting them. All right, so there are two of them. They each get one. Old Boris is with Agent J, and young Boris is with Agent K. Young age Agent K. Yeah, you got it. Everybody understand? I don't. Okay, hold on. So Agent J is fighting Old Boris, and he uses the time machine to learn all of his moves. So they fight. Agent J starts to lose and falls off of the launch pad, but luckily he is wearing the time machine, so it takes him back in time to the beginning of the fight. But now Agent J knows everything that Boris is going to do, so he uses that against him, and old Boris falls under the rocket and gets burnt up and dies a horrible death. But then young K is facing off against young Boris. My God. And K shoots off young Boris's left arm, knocking him off the tower, while also restoring the timeline to the way it was supposed to be. And Agent K attaches the ArcNet to the rocket, and it's deployed successfully. And everything is as it was supposed to be. But young Boris then attacks Agent K on the beach, which is very stressful. But then the colonel saves Agent K by sacrificing himself because he saw the future, so he knew what he had to do too. It was really sad. And Boris, knowing he's going to be arrested because, his older self told him to, goads Agent K into trying to just arrest him, but that just provokes Agent K into killing him. So, yeah, that's bad. But it also prevents the cycle from repeating itself. So, old Boris can't go into the past, all of that. Oh, man. Time movies are fucking nuts, all right? They're difficult. Yeah, my notes are extremely detailed for this one. I had to write almost every single thing down because of the time bullshit. But anyway. Okay. But yeah, so Agent K kills Boris. And while he's on the beach, a little kid gets out of a car, and it turns out it's the Colonel's son, and it's like, have you seen my dad? The Colonel? Oh. And Agent K neuralizes him after he finds out that his name is James. So he neuralizes him, and he tells him that his dad was a hero. And then it like pans a little away, and you see that Agent J is like standing a little behind them but can see what's happening. And Agent J realizes that the little boy is himself. And the Colonel was his dad. And then Agent K has been watching over him his whole life. Ooh. And that's why he is able to remember Agent K, is because he was there when the timeline changed. And y'all, I'm crying again. I cried when I watched it, and I'm teared up and emotional again because that shit is so fucking beautiful. This man has been looking over this man. Oh, that's so gorgeous. Alright, and can't nobody fucking hate if you wanna, but that shit is so deeply beautiful. And I love it. That's wholesome as shit. So yeah. Anyway, okay, so his mission is now complete, and Agent J returns to 2012, where he reconciles with Agent K, who tells him that the Boglodites have been extinct for 40 years, while J implies of his knowledge of the secret K has been hiding to protect him. And then it like zooms out, and Griffin is there watching. And he says that this is his new favorite moment in human history, is Agent J and Agent K, like, having their moment of, like, J understanding how incredible of a man and loving he is towards him. And it's just like, yeah. And that's how it ends. It ends with that sweet, wholesome thing. That's nice. So yeah, that's the end of Men in Black 3. Whew. What an emotional ride. So there's lots of really fun cameos, and a lot more emotion than I anticipated. But a total banger. Honestly, that one, yeah. Yeah, the third movie definitely redeems from the second, without a doubt. Okay, yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, 68%. That's pretty good. I think it deserves more. I think it deserves to be in the 70s minimum, but who am I? Just a critic, technically. Yeah, I guess I'm technically a movie critic. I'm fucking out here making these things. Yeah. Factor me in, Rotten Tomatoes. Make me the 2% that bumps it up to 70. Letterboxd averages 3 stars out of 5, which I like a little. I don't know. I'd also give it like 3.5. Would that be like a 75%? Is that math? Yeah, because 246, that would be 60. 3 stars would be 60%. So yeah, 3.5. I'm completely right. 75% would be 3.5. Ooh, look at me. I redeemed myself from that bad math earlier. Bow. Look at me go. It was really fun. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about, the actor who plays Griffin, the Arcanian, that can see all the future timelines and that sort of thing. He's played by Michael Stolberg, I think that's how you say the last name. Not sure. I don't know if he probably also doesn't listen to this podcast, but if he did, if he's a friend of the pod and I said his name wrong, I apologize. But that actor, he so he has the most genuine face of any human being in the entire world. Like the most emotionally reactive, beautiful, gorgeous, wholesome face that I've ever seen. I'm so desperately in love with him as an actor. He is so great. He plays the dad in Call Me By Your Name, so immediately a bunch of you are now crying because that performance by him, good God. I think his speech in that movie made me cry more than Timothée Chalamet crying. For sure, yeah. And he also was the professor in A Serious Man, which is a Coen Brothers movie. Some of y'all may know. He has been in tons of stage productions as well. He was in The Pillow Man, which is one of the most gripping pieces of drama I still have ever read in my life. Shout out to Sean for making me read it so many years ago. Anyway, so yeah, I really love that man. And it was such a delight to see him. Completely the most unexpected, I think, actor to pop up to me would be that man, would be the dad from Call Me By Your Name. So yeah, fun little extra bit. Yeah, so the question, do I relate? A little bit. I think this one I relate to the most out of the three of them so far. There is one more. But out of the three so far, yeah, I relate the most to this one. I relate to Agent J for the first time. Well, I guess it's really just him as a little kid, because, like, I didn't know my dad growing up, and he didn't know him, but had, like, someone else caring for him, still looking out for him, and so that's really beautiful. And so I did, that moment, it probably hit me so hard because I did relate to that, and that's really beautiful, and I loved it. Yay. I love it. It's gorgeous, but shout out to my family. I love you all. You're all really amazing. Every piece of it. And but beyond that, no, I didn't relate to 1969. I guess racism. I guess I relate to yikes. But nothing else that much. But this one was, like, shorter too. This movie wasn't as long, I don't think, as the other two. Even though it had a lot going on. It was easy. It was much faster to talk through it. And if you have heard weird thumping and stuff like that, it's my shitty upstairs neighbors. They suck, and I hate them. And I hope they can hear me. Yeah. And yeah, so lovely. Give it a C minimum. I give it a 75. Isn't that a solid C? Yeah, that's a solid C rating. I enjoyed it. I would recommend watching this one. It is really good. I am excited to watch Men in Black International, which I guess technically isn't Men in Black 4, because none of them are... I don't think it has anything to do with the other three. But I also have done no research into it yet. I just know Tessa Thompson is in it, and she's super duper hot and really cool. And whatever she does has got to be really good, I hope. Even though the reviews weren't great, and I didn't see it in the theater because the reviews weren't great. So, yikes. But... come on back next week. We gonna talk about it. All right, cool. This was chaotic. This was chaos. I talked really fast in this one, I realized, so I apologize. I did I did notice that you can, if you are listening to this on Spotify on a PlayStation 4, that you can like listen to it at like 1.5 speed or slow it down by 1.5 speed, and it cracked me up. I don't know. It was just a weird thing I noticed because I was using a PlayStation 4 and trying to make sure the audio worked. You know, life's weird. Yeah, cool. Keep fighting for justice for Black women, yay, and Black people and Black lives. And give if you can to the Louisville Bail Fund and buy supplies on that wish list that'll be in the bio for this episode. If you are listening on like Spotify or Apple Music, that sort of thing, you can still read the bio. I'll also have it linked on my social media. I'll put it somewheres, so you can find me on Instagram, Allie the G, as many of you already know. Yeah, Change Today, Change Tomorrow also posted it, so if you follow them online or anything to do with that organization, they also have the link for the wish list there as well, because they're facilitating it. Awesome, great information. All right. So I have been your funny neighborhood fat friend. I love you all very, very much. Thanks for letting me talk at you. I'll do it again next week. Fingers crossed. That nothing else happens that is awful. Yay! Let's knock on wood. I will. There, I knocked on wood if you could hear that. And yeah, I would travel through time, like Cher and like Will Smith. I would turn back time just to save your life, you know. I guess if I could, I would. Or to show you my love. That's what I'd do. I'd turn back time. All right. These keep getting weirder and odd, these sign-offs, but what did you expect? Anything less than weird? You didn't. So great. All right. Love you, and I'll talk at you next week. Okay. Bye.